Hi, Dr. M, Chemistry Tutor here. Here in this lesson, we're going to use the Chemcards to help us to work out the formula of some ionic compounds. And in this one, I'm using the picture side of the Chemcards rather than the formula side. So the first thing to do is to get your selection of Chemcards. So if you have this worksheet, have a look at the Chemcards that you will need, and then to get them out and lay them out in front of you. So if you pause the video at this point to give you a chance to do that. So let's have a look here at our first worked example. So the question is asking us to work out the formula for sodium chloride. So the thing to do is to look for each of these names. So an ionic compounds, they're made of metal ions and non-metal ions. So there's two parts to it. The first part being from the metal. So I'm going to go along to the metal cards, or the metal ion cards, which are in light blue, and I'm going to find the one named sodium. So I'm going to put that out there. And then I'm going to the non-metal cards. So the non-metal name I'm looking for is chloride. This forms the second part of the name, and this will be amongst the green cards, which are the common non-metal ions. So here I can find chloride here, and I can join that to the sodium. So now I've got the two ions that make up sodium chloride. So the next thing to understand is that ionic compounds are made from positive metal ions and negatively charged non-metal ions, and they're bonded together. And the rule is that the positive charges and the negative charges must cancel each other out. And this makes sense if we look at the world around us. So, for example, sodium chloride is table salt. You know, you don't, if you touch table salt, you don't get an electric shock from it, because it's all charged up. So the positive and negative in the compound must balance each other up. So what we're going to do here is look at what these charges are. So if we look at sodium, we can see here that it's got a positive charge. So if there's no number with it, that means that there's one of them. We tend to do that in chemistry. So here, and when we notice it's positive, so what we're going to put in here is a 1 plus charge. So sodium here has got a 1 plus charge. And if we do likewise with the chloride, we look at the chloride and we see here that it has a negative charge. Again, no number means that there's only one of them. So a negative charge means there's one negative charge. So I'm going to write that down underneath the chlorine, just to make sure we're quite clear that we have one negative charge. Now, when we look at these two lined up together, what we can see is that these are equal. So the positive charges is equal to the minus charges. So what this means is because they've got equal numbers, they will cancel each other out. And because they cancel each other out, this then gives us the formula where we've got one of each card. So we've got one sodium, Na, which is symbol for sodium, and we've got one chloride ion in this compound, which is NaCl. So the formula of sodium chloride, by taking into consideration the charges on the ions, is NaCl. So we're looking to cancel out these charges. Okay, so we're counting the number of cards, effectively, the number of ions that we've got when we write the formula. And when we write the formula, you also notice the formula of the compound, we don't put the charges in because they've cancelled each other out. So the whole compound is NaCl. So let's now look at worked example number 2. So work out the formula for calcium bromide. So again, we've got the two parts to this. we've got the calcium, which is the metal ion, and we've got the bromide, which is the non-metal ion. So going to our Chemcards and looking for calcium, here we can see it here. So I'm going to bring that down there. And then we're looking for, among the green cards, the non-metal, we're looking for bromide. So here's bromide here. So if I bring these there, we can start to look at how this compound is made up. And as we did before, we're going to look at the charges. So here with the bromide, this time, the calcium, this time we see that it's 2+. So as before, we're going to type in what the positive charges are. So from the metal, we have got the 2+ from the calcium. Now, if we look at the bromide this time, we see that it's Br minus, so there's no number, which means that there's one of them. So what that means is here, we've got 1 minus. Now, what we have now is this situation where those charges are not balanced. And ionic compounds, remember, the overall compound is not electrically charged. So the positive and minus charges must cancel each other out. So the question here is, well, how do we do that? So if you think about it in terms of adding more cards, if you go to your Chemcards, you'll find that you should have more than one bromide card in there. So here I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to paste it so that I have another one. So let's just move the charges here. So I'm going to add another bromide card there, and I've gone for the bromide because I was short of negative charges. I need to get some more negative charges in there to cancel out these two positives. So now if we look at what we've got with the bromide, you can see that each of these bromides has got a negative charge. Okay, they've both got one negative charge. And the fact that I now have two cards there with two negative charges is then pointing me to the fact that this negative here is no longer one negative charge, but it's two negative charges, because we have two 1 minus ones. So now we're at the point where the positive and the negative charges are equal and they are cancelling each other out. And what that does is leave us to write the formula. Now the formula is telling us how many of each that we have in the compound. So we can see here that as far as the calcium goes, we have got 1 calcium there. So we put its chemical symbol in, Ca. There's only one, so we don't need to put a number in that. So then the next one is Br. So we're using the chemical symbol for bromine to give us Br. But this time, we see that we've got 2 of these cards. So we need to put a 2 in there. And the way that we write the 2 is usually as a subscript there. So a little 2 just down from the letter. So the formula of calcium bromide this time is CaBr2. So 1 calcium ion and 2 bromide ions. And the reason we do that is so that we can balance out those charges, so that they can cancel each other out when we have the full compound. So your turn now. What I suggest you do is pause the video at this point and have a go at the other examples on the worksheet. And then once you've had a go at that using the Chemcards and writing the formula, come back and you can check your answers. I'll put them up while you're doing that exercise. Okay, go for it. So if you want to check your answers, magnesium oxide is MgO. potassium bromide, KBr, sodium oxide, Na2, you'll need 2 sodiums for every oxygen, Na2O. Copper sulfate, we go with copper 2 plus ion, and sulfate is SO4 2 minus. So those match. So we have CuSO4. And the sodium nitrates, we have Na for sodium, and then NO3 for nitrates. So sodium is a 1 plus charge, nitrate has a 1 minus charge. So moving on to number 6, zinc chloride, ZnCl2, since Zn is 2 plus and Cl is 1 minus. Potassium nitride is going to give you K3, so you will need 3 of those to cancel out 1 nitride, because nitrogen or nitride is 3 minus here. Calcium nitrate, this is when we start to get tricky now. Calcium nitrate is going to be CaNO3, but you're going to need 2 nitrates because they only have 1 minus. So because that is a whole group, as you see here, you need to put that in brackets with the 2 outside. So you need 2 of that group, 2 of that card to cancel it out. Iron chloride, we're dealing with iron 3 plus. So you're going to have 1 of those, but because chloride only has 1 minus, you're going to have 3 chlorides to cancel that out. And aluminium oxide. So these are getting harder as you get to these last 3. But aluminium is 3 plus. So if we have 2 of those, that will give us a total of 6 plus. Oxide is 2 minus. And if we have a total of 3 of those, that will give us 6 minus. So this is the answer to number 10. So I hope you got on okay with that. So if you haven't had a go at task B, stop the video and have a go. Just choose 3 other pairs that are not on the list. See if you can name the compound and then write down its chemical formula using the cards to work that out. And you can get your teacher to check those afterwards to make sure you've done it correctly. Okay, good luck. Go for it. And I'll see you next time.